In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make this cute loop handle wallet. It's the perfect size for your travel cards and trinkets. This tutorial is tailored towards absolute beginners, so if you're already pretty familiar with some of the steps mentioned, there are timestamps for you to easily navigate through the video at your own pace. Here are the materials that you will need, and let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is to learn how to create a slip knot. So to begin, pick up the tail end of your yarn, and we are going to grab that tail end and put it towards the back like this, so we have a bit of a loop showing. After that, you can hold that intersection with your fingers. With your other hand fingers, you want to insert your fingers into the loop, grab the tail end of the yarn, and we're going to pull until we have a loop like this. Once you have our slip knot, we're going to insert our hook and just gently tighten your yarn onto your hook. And there you have your slip knot. From there, we're going to chain 18. In order to chain, what you're going to do is wrap your yarn around the hook like shown, and you're just going to pull through until you have a loop. And if you look closely, you'll be able to see a little V, 1, 2, and that is your first chain. Let's do another one together. We're going to wrap your yarn around the hook and again pull through. Here is our second chain, our second V. So we're going to do this 16 more times, so in total we should have 18 chains. I've just finished my 18 chains in a row, so it's looking quite good. Now what I'm going to do is, you can see our row of V's linking up here. I'm going to flip my chain onto the other side. If you look closely, you can see these little lumps, these singular lumps. Those lumps are where we're going to crochet into in our next step. But before we go into the lumps, what we're going to do is we are going to chain one extra for the height of what we're going to do next. Now turn your work so you can see the lumps. And you can see the closest lump is sitting here. We're going to skip that one and we're going to go to the next lump from our hook. So we're going to put a single crochet into that lump. So to do that, you want to insert your hook into that lump, like so. Wrap your yarn around the hook, pull through. Then wrap your yarn around the hook again and pull through both of the loops. We have just created one single crochet. So what you're going to do is grab your stitch marker and in that stitch that we just created, in these two loops, we are going to insert our stitch marker. So it should look something like this once you're ready. Then we're going to look for the next lump in line, and you can see the next lump is this one here. Insert your hook, and we're going to do the same thing and create another single crochet. Wrap your yarn around and pull through so that you have two loops. Wrap your yarn around again and pull through both loops. So we're going to continue this all the way down until we reach this end. So I'll meet you there soon. We're almost at the end of this row. I can see there's 2 more bumps that I can crochet into. So we'll do those together. Insert your hook, wrap your yarn around, pull through, wrap your yarn around again and pull through, and insert your hook again, wrap your yarn around, pull through, and pull through both loops. Now that we're at the end, we're going to turn our work, and now you can see each of the V's in a row on the other side. That's where we're going to crochet into now. With this tail, we're just going to crochet over it so we don't have to weave it in at the end of the project. If you lift the tail up, you can see the 2 arms of the V. In there, we're going to insert our hook. Bring your tail back down and hold in place. Wrap your yarn around, pull through, wrap your yarn around and pull through both loops. Let's continue into the next one. Insert your hook into both of the arms. Wrap your yarn around, pull through, wrap your yarn around again and pull through both loops. Here's the next stitch. Insert your hook into the next stitch. Wrap your yarn around, pull through, wrap your yarn around again and pull through both loops. And we're going to keep going until we have a few of our single crochets down. Now that I've done a few single crochets, I can grab my scissors, and with the tail end of the yarn, we are going to chop it off. And we are going to keep crocheting into our V's until the end of the row. So I've just single crocheted down the other side as well. And what you're going to do is you can see the first stitch that we have marked with our stitch marker. We're going to insert our hook into that stitch, like so. Wrap your yarn around and pull through. You can see there's 2 loops on our hook right now. With this loop, we're going to pull this loop through the second loop, like so. And this is called a slip stitch. So we have just completed our round 1. Once we've done that, we can take our stitch marker out. And we're going to now start round 2. To start round 2, you want to start by chaining 3. So we already learned how to do a chain. Wrap your yarn around and pull through for the first chain. We're going to do the same thing for the second chain and for the third chain as well. So we have like this tall chain coming off of it now. And what we're going to do now is put 3 double crochets into the next stitch, into this stitch that we see here. How to do a double crochet. So wrap your yarn around your hook first. In the next stitch, we're going to insert your hook like shown. Wrap your yarn around the hook again and pull through. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. We're now going to wrap your yarn around the hook again and pull through just the first 2 loops. So now we have 2 loops left. And again, wrap your yarn around and pull through your last 2 loops. So that was our double crochet. Before we continue, grab your stitch marker again. And in that last stitch that we have just created, we're going to insert the stitch marker like this. I know that was a bit complex, so we'll do another one together. Wrap your yarn around again. In the same stitch, so not the next one, but the same one that you just put the stitch in, insert your hook, wrap your yarn around, and pull through. So now we have 3 loops. wrap your yarn around and pull through 2 loops. Wrap your yarn around again and pull through the last 2 loops. And this is our second double crochet. So in that same stitch, you can see it's a bit stretched now. We're going to put 1 more double crochet into that hole. So wrap your yarn around again, insert your hook, wrap your yarn around and pull through. Wrap your yarn around again, pull through 2 loops, wrap your yarn around again and pull through 2 loops. So you can see it's more complicated than a single crochet, but it's very repetitive. Now what we're going to do is, you can see this stitch has been stitched into 3 times now. This is our next one, and this is the one after. And so we're going to skip these 2 stitches and do the same thing in the next stitch. So what that looks like is, we're going to wrap our yarn around the hook, and skipping these 2 stitches, we're going to insert our hook into the 3rd stitch, wrap your yarn around the hook and pull through, wrap your yarn around the hook again, pull through 2 loops, wrap your yarn around the hook and pull through 2 loops. And it looks a bit strange, but we have just created our double crochet skipping 2 stitches. So again, in this same stitch, we're going to do 2 more double crochets. Wrap your yarn around the hook, insert your hook, wrap your yarn around the hook again, pull through, wrap your yarn around the hook and pull through 2 loops, wrap your yarn around the hook and pull through 2 loops. 1 more, wrap your yarn around the hook, insert into the same stitch, wrap your yarn around and pull through, wrap around, pull through 2, and wrap around, pull through 2. So now we have another set of 3 double crochets here. So in the next one, again, we're going to skip 2 stitches, and in the 3rd one from what we were working in, we're going to put 3 double crochets in there as well. And this pattern we're going to keep repeating until the end of the row. So I'm going to continue, and we'll meet towards the end of the row as well. I'm about to reach this corner to round it, and so it's okay, it's the same pattern. You can see there's another stitch here, another one here, so those 2 we're going to skip, and it's the next one after that. At this point, you can see that when we skip 2 stitches, we're starting to go back to our 3 chains that we did earlier. So when you get to this point, you don't want to put another block of 3 double crochets. What we're going to do now is we're going to go back to that very first stitch, insert your hook, wrap your yarn around and pull through. So you have 2 loops. Then we're going to put this loop into the second loop, like so. So complete our slip stitch. And there you have completed your round 2. When we finish round 2, you can take the stitch marker out. And what we're going to do is start our round 3. To start round 3, you're going to chain 3 again. And instead of going in the stitches now, can you see that big hole that your chains are on top of, kind of? You can see that's where we are going to do our double crochets now. So again, we're going to wrap your yarn around, insert into that big hole, and complete your double crochet. So wrap your yarn around and pull through. So we have 3 loops. Wrap your yarn around again and pull through 2. Wrap your yarn around and pull through the last 2. So this was our first double crochet. It is optional at this point, but I will also mark my stitch here, like so, before I continue my next 2 double crochets in the same hole. Once we've done our 3 double crochets, we're going to look for our next big hole, which is this one here. So again, we're going to just wrap your yarn around, insert into that big hole, and complete your double crochet. And we're going to put 2 more double crochets in there, so that we have 3 double crochets in that hole all together. So here's my 3. We're just going to repeat this pattern and we'll continue until the end of this row. If you need a reminder on how to do a double crochet, you can always go back to the start of this video. But as I said before, because you have to do so many double crochets for this project, it does get really repetitive and you'll be an expert in no time. So I have again finished all around, and you can see that if you follow the pattern you would have to go into this hole, but it's already filled in by the start, so that means we're ready to do our slip stitch again. So insert your hook into our first stitch. We're going to wrap your yarn around the hook and pull through that second loop as well. So here is our round 3. Then you can again take the stitch marker out, and we're going to do the exact same thing as our previous round. So again, chain 3. You can see this is the hole right underneath our chains. Wrap your yarn around, insert your hook, wrap your yarn around, pull through, wrap your yarn around, pull through 2, and do the same again. In here you can put your stitch marker in. We're going to put 2 more double crochets in here. Just like that. And again, we're just going to repeat this pattern. You can see the next hole is over here. That's where we're going to put our 3 double crochets. You can see our next hole is here. So we're just going to keep repeating this pattern all across and finish off with a slip stitch like we've been doing with the previous rounds. This is going to go on until you finish round 8. So I'll meet you after you've completed round 8. So I just completed my round 8. You can see it's looking very nice, and you can see that the shape is forming. We're almost done. Our last step is to create the loop and the handle at the top of our card holder. So what we're going to do is firstly sort of line your work up, and we're going to grab our stitch marker and try and sort of eyeball which stitch is directly opposite where our hook is right now. So I think approximately it will be this one here. So I'm just going to insert my stitch marker, and you can see that's sort of approximately where the other side is. From there, I'm going to chain 8. Now that we have our 8, I'm going to go back to that stitch here. I'm going to insert my hook, wrap my yarn around and pull through, and finish off my slip stitch, like so. Now we have a little loop that we can thread our handle through. From here, we are going to put 1 single crochet into each of our stitches. all the way until you reach our stitch marker. It might be a bit of an adjustment going from double crochet to single crochet, but just remember to insert your hook into the stitch to begin with, and the rest should just follow. My next stitch will be the one that my stitch marker is in, so I'm going to take it out. Insert your hook. You can complete a single crochet into that stitch. We're going to chain 30. I have chained my long chain of 30, and when you're done, you can go back to our work. In that same stitch, we're going to insert our hook into the two arms of the V, wrap your yarn around and pull through, and finish off that slip stitch like so. From there, we're going to go all the way until we reach our start loop again. So I've kept making my single crochets until I've reached the very first loop. And you can see there's a little stitch there that marks the start of our loop. We're going to insert your hook into that little space, wrap your yarn around, pull through, and pull through once more. So what you're going to do now is grab your scissors, snip off the rest of your yarn, and with your hook, just pull gently and a bit tighter with your fingers, like so. Now with this tail, our last step is to weave in our ends. So firstly, take a look to see where that tail is coming from. We're just going to insert our hook into the next stitch. Grab the rest of the tail of the yarn and pull it through that stitch. And just keep repeating on the other side. And we're going to pull that yarn tail onto the other side. So I've weaved through a few more stitches and I feel that it's quite secure now, so I'm going to grab my scissors again and snip off the yarn tail pretty close to the work. And your card holder is now complete. I'm so proud of you for persevering through this tutorial. Keep up the amazing work. And thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to see more beginner-friendly projects. Thank you again and see you next time.